With a desire for streamlined operating processes, Wilcott & Brooks Publishing requests a design for a new building. Seamless Design & Associates is hired via a design-build contract, and immediately the design team receives many independent requests from the different divisions in WBP. Because ownership has no clear path to define who authorizes changes or additions on the project, communication is disastrous. Design additions add extra costs and will delay the design process, and because there is no clear structure for communication or authorization, the situation cannot improve. When dealing with complex client teams, quality of conversation and communication is critical. To ensure this will occur, it is important that everyone operate on the same knowledge base. Conversation between multiple parties is pointless if there is no shared baseline on the subject at hand. It is also important to have a facilitator present in conversation. A neutral mind must be present to continually consider the wants and needs of all parties involved. It's the facilitator's job to maintain peace in conversation to keep things under control. Without a party tasked to bring order, when things get heated, conversation quickly turns unproductive and progress is hindered. Overall, in the struggle of maintaining complex client teams, it's important for designers to appeal to all parties and for facilitation to occur. Due to unplanned design requests by heads within Wilcott & Brooks Publishing, an increase in fees of $20,000 is applied to the project. When considering who should be responsible for this figure, generally the structure developed at the beginning of the project is reviewed. In this project, however, no structure was developed and only ethics guide the decision of who's to pay. Since the design team was working under the client's requests, the client should compensate the design team the $20,000. In talking with industry professional Rick Skaggs, financial confusion is avoided by setting up a formal structure at the beginning of the project. In fairness for both parties, phases of the project are set and billed on a monthly basis based on the percent of completed work. This ensures the design team has a steady flow of income and the client is not required to pay for unfinished work. All this said, however, if a design team does work under a client's instructions, the design team should be reimbursed by the client. It is important to stay on schedule during a project, as delays are costly and lead to unhappy clients. Professor Natalie Ellis provides insight to a real-life situation in which the project had a quick startup and did not allow for discovery or research, which is similar to the situation at hand. Although a tight schedule meant many details were built at the same time they were drawn, patience between the client and the design team ensured an effective work ethic and produced a well-designed project. Therefore, in the case of WBP and Seamless Design Associates, progress forward on a project can be had, even when the scope is not fully understood. However, attitude and clear communication pathways must be the foundation if the project is to be a success. When creating a plan for decision-making, several questions must be asked to inform the final communication structure. For instance, who will approve changes or additions, ultimately communicated to the design team? Who will the main source of communication be between design and client? Who on the client team is able to authorize and validate changes sent to the design team? And finally, who on the design team is responsible for instituting these changes? Once these questions have been answered, a document must be generated to solidify this decision-making plan. In the case of WBP, the design firm wishes to work preemptively on products for the final design to keep the project on track. When doing preemptive design, the type of work should be completed only after careful consideration, because only certain types of work can be modified later. For instance, completing specific layouts of buildings when a final location is still unknown is not feasible. According to design professional Rick Skaggs, preemptive work such as finding the prices for finishes is highly beneficial. Making a master spreadsheet with all products and their price variances, the client is able to determine where they want to spend big money and where they don't. With this spreadsheet, the design team has all of the information for these products ready once the final location has been selected. Overall, preemptive design work can only be beneficial depending on what work is done. After reviewing the WBP project and consulting with industry professionals, principal lessons were learned. We discovered it is crucial to develop clear and concise communication channels, that decision-making plans are critical, and that completion of only selective preemptive design work is beneficial. Overall, we as designers must learn from the mistakes of others and employ lessons learned in the field. In doing so, we will become successful members of industry, generating strong design.
Created using Powtoon.